In a new deal Meta just surprised us with today, it makes it look like the Quest 3 is now at its lowest price ever, offering you a Quest 3 128GB model at $368.01. Unfortunately, this is part of Meta's new Pay Now, Play Later program, offering you the chance to get a Quest and pay a monthly price of either $24.99 or $34.99 per month for the next 24 months. And although in theory you are only paying that price for it, you are also bundled into having Meta's Warranty Plus service, which we'll talk about the details later in the news, and also 2 years of Meta Quest Plus. This is an offer for US residents only and is basically a way to get a Quest now and end up paying for it over the next couple years. And we've said before on the channel, Meta Quest Plus might actually be decent for people who are new to VR and don't already have a large game library, as it allows you to rack up an extra 2 games per month and a back catalog of different games you can play. And the Warranty Plus they're bundling makes sense because even if you accidentally damage the headset, it says it can potentially cover that with a possible repair fee, because people who have one for 2 years and risk breaking it while they're still paying for it probably won't want to continue paying for the device. It seems like a smart decision on Meta's part to make these headsets more approachable, as they've seen that $500 price point really isn't selling the Quest 3s nearly as fast as it sold the Quest 2s at $300, although you end up paying $600 total for the headset that you would have paid $500 for if you paid up front and bought it, although Quest Plus would have cost you $60 a year, so that would have been another $120. So in theory, if you thought you were going to get a Quest 3, you were going to get Quest Plus for 2 years, this would sort of save you money and would let you make much smaller monthly payments, which might be a way for Meta to get more headsets in the hands of people before the holiday season, especially as we're in kind of this weird transition phase between where the Quest 2 keeps selling out everywhere, the rumored Quest 3S or 3 Lite isn't available or even confirmed yet, and it's leaving people with the only option of a Quest 3 at $500 or potentially nothing. Ultimately, more VR headsets in the hands of people playing them, enjoying them, and getting games is best for the industry. But personally, for me, if you're between either saving up and buying a headset or looking at potentially this plan, I believe it's always best to save up and buy it. That way you're not locked into these monthly payments. Quest software update v67 began rolling out this week, and strap in because you're going to see a lot of that slow rollout coming up again and again in this. Now, most of the features of v67 have to do with multitasking, and the one that most people are getting really surprisingly excited about is the ability to move windows around and have multiple 2D apps running simultaneously on the headset in those different windows. You've got 6 different windows that you can be running at the same time, and 3 of them can be moved anywhere in your room if you want to dock them somewhere, set them up somewhere, whether that makes them more productive or just more pleasing for you where they are, and you can be running different apps at the same time. This means that whether you're multitasking inside of the headset doing different apps, whether you're multitasking outside the headset by using something in the headset to watch videos and then also using mixed reality to work in the real world, you now have plenty of different options on how you position the windows and how you operate them. But all of this is still considered experimental, and you have to go in the settings in experimental to even enable it. And if you're someone who just games on the headset who doesn't really do much in the home environment, this might not sound like a very big deal to you, but the nearly 1,000 upvotes on the Oculus Quest subreddit and multiple comments saying that this is the competition they wanted to see Apple bringing to the table that forces Meta to do some of these things that we saw on the Vision Pro. People saying finally, and people saying that you could take the curve off of Windows, and that actually is a really big deal to them. You can also turn your attention to any one of these single windows by using the theater view, which will open up the window bigger and then give you a dial where you can actually dim everything else around it, helping you focus on just that one. That does look to only be if you're using immersive mode and not if you're actually in mixed reality. It won't dim the mixed reality around you, but it will dim the other windows. Another new feature coming to this is a creator content section in the Horizon feed. Now, you won't see any content from our channel on this, at least not as of yet, but this feature is also slowly rolling out, basically allowing content creators to start creating videos directly for the Horizon feed. They're offering that you can connect with creators through reactions and sharing, and then if you see a video that a creator put out on a certain game, you could jump directly to the game from there, kind of in essence trying to skip the step of going over to YouTube and looking up something on YouTube, deciding whether you want to buy the game or check the game out. And they offer, if you are a creator and are active on other social networks and you're interested in this, hit them up in their community Discord to see if you can actually become a part of this. I want to pose a question to you out there because I'm curious, do you often look at the Horizon feed when you're inside your headset? If you're on your phone, do you see it? Do you feel like this is something that's valuable, or if you were a content creator, would you use this? Would you try and submit content for this? It seems as though they're trying to make their own in-headset or meta-specific social network for virtual reality, although they're Meta. They already own Facebook, Meta, Oculus, everything. So it's kind of an interesting feature, and I'm not sure how I feel about it yet, but let me know your opinions out there as to what you think on it when you see this, and if you think it's something that we should be paying more attention attention to and trying to submit content for. If you're tired of hunting and pecking on the keyboard, swipe typing is now available, but again, it's another thing that as it rolls out, you do have to go into the features and enable this. So basically in settings, system, keyboard, you can select swipe typing, and instead of having to hunt and peck all over the keyboard, you can touch it just like you do on a phone, swipe around, and then hopefully it chooses the right word that you were trying to select. That does seem more useful for me, although I still find most of the time when I'm using the keyboard, I'm holding the controller, aiming the laser pointer at it, and then clicking over each one. But with these new abilities to move all the windows around, move the keyboard around, it could be useful now to be able to just swipe over the keyboard instead. For the 10 people out there who went and got a Quest Pro, Quest Pro is getting some eye tracking improvements, although they gave us very little details here as to what that means, and it will apply to very few people who actually own a Quest Pro. As someone who personally owns one, I exclusively use the Quest 3 and I barely ever get on my Quest Pro anymore at this point. In fact, I don't even have it. I think it's at a friend's right now because they wanted to check it out. But it's interesting if future headsets are going to potentially have eye tracking again. It's good that we're ironing out these details and making the eye tracking better for now. There's some changes to the do not disturb mode, especially if you're someone who's using WhatsApp, which we learned is one of the most popular apps on the Quest, and you don't want people who are using your headset to see your notifications. You can now have different durations for do not disturb. You can switch it on and off in quick settings or even in notifications, but you could put do not disturb for a certain amount of time before you let your friend play on the headset and then avoid some sort of embarrassing notification. A Wi-Fi QR code scanner, for some reason working with the Quest 3 only. So basically, if you've been places and you see now, instead of having a sign that says Wi-Fi name, Wi-Fi password, some places are putting a QR code up so that you can just quickly scan it with your phone. Well, if you're now in one of these places that has one of those, you can also use your Quest 3 to hook up to the Wi-Fi there. So as you're wandering around your dentist's office, playing some sort of epic battle in VR, nearly punching the other people waiting in the face, it's a lot easier to connect to that Wi-Fi. They're also taking that immersive media, aka spatial videos or whatever you want to call them, and making them a little bit easier to function. You can stay in an immersive app and you can use Quest TV or File Viewer and watch other immersive videos. And you might have noticed recently, even in the main home screen, immersive videos now have 3D thumbnails, although it looks like they were generated directly from the old 2D thumbnails and they look kind of horrible at the moment. But I will say they were eye-catching to me when I put on the headset and noticed that those were an option. A lot of little updates with v67 and most of them in the multitasking realm or in the home feed, but people do seem excited about a UI update. So I ask, what would you like to see change in the next updates? Update 68, and who knows, maybe they'll have something special waiting for update 69. It definitely feels, even though in a response to a tweet on X, Boz said that, oh, well, they've been working on these long before the Apple Vision Pro. It feels like the Vision Pro entering has added a lot of ideas about what could be done on the Quest, and simple updates have been able to enable those features, which is great for the whole industry. And remember, now there's actually a new tool if you do want to get these updates and you don't want to just join the public test channel. If they have rolled out, you may be able to force the update on your Quest via PC. I'll leave a link in the comments and description down below. It does seem like it may be US only for now, but that allows you to hook up and force the update into your Quest. If you're someone who enjoys gaming on the Quest, but you always feel like it seems like games could look a little better, especially if you had control over the settings, there's been the Quest Games Optimizer, which has been really popular, and it's a tool that basically allows you to improve the visual quality of standalone games on the Quest. Now, the Quest Game Optimizer for a while has been something people have been interested, but there was a barrier of typically having to install it onto your Quest through PC. Now with its V10 update, you can actually install it without a computer or a smartphone, just directly onto your Quest. Now, this isn't a free app. It does cost $12, and it's currently on sale, bringing it from that $12 down to $9.59, and then that unlocks the APK files you can install, and all of this can be done through the browser directly on the headset. It allows you control in the apps over the resolution, the frame rate. It's an interesting tool, but it is something that can cause you to use higher power consumption, use your battery up faster, even generating more heat while it's not overclocking the Quest at all. It's something, if a lot of you are curious out there about an in-depth review, I've actually been looking at it for a while, and I think the developer even reached out to me wondering if we wanted to go in depth and talk about it more. If that's something that interests you, let me know in the comments down below and I'll reach out to them. App Lab for many years was a way that we all could get many free games on the Quest, games that were in development, trying things early, and over time Meta has been slowly allowing the App Lab to integrate more and more into the main store. With that, now it is going to completely dissolve App Lab and just make the games available to be seen on the main Meta store. This has been a slow process over a long time. If you've been here with us on the channel, we've seen when they finally started letting games show up at all in search, still through a pop-up barrier that made it seem like the app might be fishy or scary, then starting to actually make them a little more searchable, but still reminding you that it was on App Lab and not on the main store and that it may be experimental. Then actually adding a featured section where it showed App Lab titles you might want to check out, to where now it will just be integrated into the store, and developers can start using early access badges for their games to help identify which ones would have been on App Lab had it still been a thing. App Lab for a long time was basically a step between something like SideQuest or directly loading APK files onto your Quest that could be anything, but not nearly as scrutinized and quality checked as the actual Quest store. As surprising as that may be to hear, because we know that some very terrible and glitchy games have made it to the official store. But what this means most is for developers who have developed on App Lab, it means a lot more chance of exposure, a much easier time being found, and if someone searches the exact name of your game, it means your game will show up instead of it suggesting multiple other games off the official store first. We mentioned earlier we'd talk a bit more about Meta Warranty Plus for those of you who hadn't heard about it or were interested. This program did launch last year, and basically it's an extended warranty on your Quest instead of the initial limited 1 year that it includes. You can get 2-year protection, and that also includes accident protection. Not only new devices, but if you buy refurbished devices directly from Meta. And if you've bought a new headset recently, you probably noticed they offer this and remind that you have up to 60 days after you purchase the product to add this. It's basically like a lot of other extended warranties these days. $40 for an extra year of coverage, but during both of those years, there is that potential for accident. It even mentions if the headset were to get dropped, liquid spills, or submersions, but you do have to give an exact explanation of where, when, and how the accidental damage occurred. So dropping off a building might not count. Like a lot of these warranties, it's probably something most people don't opt into, but it's interesting that it's bundled directly with that Play Now, Buy Later program they were offering. But anyways, a lot going on in the VR space and a lot going on here for your channel as well. Thanks to you all, we hit 80,000 recently. We started some new giveaways to say thank you to all of you. So there'll be a link down in the description down below in the comments. There's some big news that we're getting a little bit of support to start making some videos we've really wanted to. Just support in the context of a few extra headsets, but it means that now that we finally have this studio space here dedicated, we can actually invite some of you out here. So there'll be some more details about that in the comments, but basically if you're in the Northern Oregon area, we have a Discord that you can join to keep an eye on what's happening there. But just want to say thank you once again to all of you out there. You've supported us so much over the years. It's why these things are happening. So thank you, and we'll see you in another reality.